kind of interesting, I guess you could say, turn of events that has happened recently in American schools that is credited to the idea of individualism and the idea of rights, is that a lot of parents have stepped up nationwide and invoked what they call parental rights, the rights of their children to learn what the parents think is appropriate. Now, there's always been parental rights to some extent. For example, if a child's parent doesn't approve of health classes that talk about reproduction sometimes, that child generally wouldn't have to take those classes. There's always been the ability of a parent to say that they wanted an alternate text for a child, or that that they didn't agree even with evolution. I remember when I was in high school, some students left the class when they talked about evolution in science, which is the idea that life came from, that life evolved, that it came from a low level of life like bacteria, and then over time it became more and more complex. And a lot of Christians, particularly evangelical Christians, they believe that that's not true. And so I know some students were actually excused from that part of the science class, and they took some kind of a separate course. So there's always been this idea of parental rights that isn't really found in other countries. I think you'd be hard-pressed to find another country that really catered to what parents wanted as much as the U.S. But now there's this new movement that claims that parents should be the ultimate authority in what students learn and should have control over all the curriculum. And what that's being used for in practice is actually things that are kind of communalistic ideas. The big one's book banning. The idea that certain books are not appropriate for students, and that parents should have the right to determine if they think the books are appropriate or not, and if they don't, there's like a board that determines if the books are appropriate. But that goes kind of into communalism, because one parent is choosing that for the entire school. One parent recommends a book, and if that book is eventually banned, then it becomes the whole school can't read that book, or the whole school system. And this is being done at a state level in South Carolina. So one parent's recommendation could potentially affect the whole state, which is a very communalistic idea, the idea that everybody does the same thing, which is what these groups say they're not doing. So it's just very interesting. It's a very interesting time in education. So that's all I have for today. And thank you so much for watching. And until next time, keep learning.